Hi everyone, welcome to this video about beaches, Turks and Caicos. Everything you need to know. I'm Addison of Reliant Destinations and MyCaribbeanLuxury.com. I'm so glad you're here, so glad you've chosen to watch this video. Let's get in together. Beaches, Turks and Caicos. I just got back for this resort actually just 2 weeks ago with my wife and my 1-year-old. We had an amazing time, and with this video I want you to know everything that you need to know in order to make a decision if this resort is the best resort for you. I also want to make sure that you get the best deal possible for this resort, so at the end of this video I will tell you exactly how to do that. Also, in case you haven't guessed, this video is going to be a long video, but a very thorough video because this video is everything you need to know to make that informed choice. I am aware that not all of you want to sit and watch a whole video about all the different aspects of the resort. So for those of you who are here searching for specific information, down below in the description I will have the timestamps with all the different categories of this video so you can easily go and find the sections that are best for you. But for those of you who want to know everything, let's get in. There is a gorgeous digital brochure which I have linked just right below this video that you can have a wonderful browse of all the different aspects of the resort, and you can see beautiful photos of different room categories, and you can also see information about restaurants and everything you'd want to know from that angle. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe. This helps me to make sure that I can consistently produce new videos for you that help you make informed choices. So Beaches is owned by Sandals. Now Sandals has actually won the world's leading adult-only all-inclusive resort brand for 23 years in a row. So since the 1980s, they have been doing a wonderful job in bringing tourism to the Caribbean for that all-inclusive premium feel. However, just a few years after Sandals started, Beaches began, and Beaches is an amazing family resort brand. Maybe you're someone that has been to Sandals previously and had an amazing time, but now there's a kid in your life and you need a family option that is similar, or maybe you're looking for an amazing just family resort vacation in general. Whichever one of those shoes that you might be in, let's have a look together and see just how this could be the perfect vacation for you. With Beaches, Beaches is a 5-star brand. It is a premium brand. So I'll go ahead and say this now. If the pocketbook is a little bit tight and money is your #1 concern, Beaches is probably not going to be the best option for you. This is because price-wise, it is going to cost more than a lot of the other competitors. However, I am of a firm belief that with Beaches, you get a lot more for your money. So if you're after value for money and also after premium 5-star luxury, this is where Beaches really comes in. So today we're talking about Beaches, Turks and Caicos, but there are also 2 other Beaches resorts. You have Beaches in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and this is Beaches Ocho Rios, and then you also have Beaches in Negril, Jamaica. Now these are 2 very different resorts, and one thing I would mention as well is in terms of price, they do start at Beaches Ocho Rios, Beaches Negril, and then the most premium price is going to be this resort, which is going to be Beaches, Turks and Caicos. However, this resort is also probably 3 times the size of the second largest one and is going to be significantly nicer. Perhaps, I've been to a lot of resorts and I would say perhaps this is one of, if not the very nicest family 5-star resort in the world. These are all elements that we'll go into in more depth in just a couple of minutes. Other inclusions as well. Kids camps, absolutely included. Games and sports, obviously the water park, the pools, it's included. You go to the spa, even the spa facilities are included as well. Beach activities, entertainment, and even a massive retail park for you to do your shopping. So all of this you're going to find at Beaches, Turks and Caicos. This is a sizable resort, and as such, on that 12-mile beach, I would say that Beaches, Turks and Caicos, it occupies a pretty good amount of that, maybe even close to a mile there of that beach. When you walk out from the resort to the beach, and there are multiple points you can walk out in almost every part, maybe just a couple hundred feet from one exit to the beach to another. And with that, when you walk onto the beach is absolutely gorgeous. So I've been to a lot of beaches in the Caribbean, and I have to say that when it comes to being rated the world's best beach by TripAdvisor Awards, I would say I have to agree with that. When you look down into the beautiful water, that is crystal clear. It is gorgeous. It even puts the Bahamas to shame, in my opinion. That water is beautiful, and it is up on crystal sands, and those sands are beautiful. They're golden sands, and in my time I was there, I did not see a single piece of seaweed either. So establishing a lot of the inclusions that are in a beaches package, let's talk a bit about the levels of luxury, because there are 3 different levels. So this is the luxury level, the concierge level, and then also the Butler elite level. At beaches and at Sandals, they have the same as well. So if you're coming from Sandals, you're probably used to luxury, the club sandals, and the Butler. It's very similar, but at beaches, they call club sandals the concierge level. So the first rung is the luxury level. So these are going to be your entry level rooms. Now, in my opinion, they're still beautiful, they're still spacious, but this is where it is your standard all-inclusive package with all your basic things included. But then it takes that step up when you hit the concierge level. With the concierge level, you tend to have a little bit larger suites, they tend to be in a little bit better locations, and most of all, the amenities and services you get, this is where it really takes that step up. For example, when you check in, you do check in at the dedicated concierge team lounge, and then with that, the concierge actually escorts you directly to your room, gives you an in-room orientation, and then even offers you a resort orientation. I don't know about you, but before discovering Sandals and beaches, a lot of my experience is you check in, you're given a key, and maybe some directions that you might get lost on the way to finding your room in a resort. This is a whole step up when it comes to this beach's concierge level. Inside your suite, you have upgraded amenities, and not only upgraded amenities, but you have fully stocked bar as well. So with this, they do it a little bit differently at beaches, specifically Turks and Caicos. Obviously, they understand that you are likely to have children in the room. Maybe you don't want alcohol in a grabbing distance, or maybe you want to specifically request it. So when you arrive, it will actually be empty, but there will be a wonderful sheet that you can fill out, and on that sheet you can have all of your preferences, and you can either pick up the phone, you can dial down to the concierge team and put your preferences in, or you can just drop it off next time you walk by the lounge, and they will go and they will stock your mini fridge with whatever you like. Alternatively, maybe you just want to have soft beverages, and they can fill it with all your favorite soft beverages, waters, juices, and different sodas. Now, speaking of amenities, inside the room, there are some really cool amenities. Let me show you a couple of these. So first of all, we absolutely love, now when I say we, that is my wife and I have to say, I think our little boy as well, we all love when we take a shower or a bath at beaches, and my wife and I were at Sandals. It is the same, it's Red Lane Spa amenities, and with these amenities, you have just gorgeous different ones, from body lotions to shampoos and conditioners and big bars of soap, and they have very specific smell to them from the Red Lane Spa. And these are in your rooms, and you get nicer ones and more of them as well when you stay in a concierge or a Butler suite. Here's an example here. So I have a French milled soap, and then also the body wash, which I love so much. I actually use these at my own personal home because they are so delightful. Talking about that fully stocked mini bar there in the room for the concierge level suites and higher, well, Sandals and Beaches actually have an exclusive partnership with Robert Mondavi Wines from California, and with that they have a wide variety you can request, and they are premium wines and they are wonderful. Here's an example here of a Shiraz, which you can find in your room, so you can request this, a Cabernet Sauvignon, whatever you would like, you can have there in your room if you are a concierge or a Butler guest. Furthermore, the concierge team puts together exclusive activities for the concierge level guests. So these can be a variety of things, but they're often very fun, and it's a great opportunity to meet other families as well. Now, with this, there are a lot of other services that come with the concierge level suite outside of them being just nicer suites overall. So with this, you can have dinner reservations that are made directly for you through the concierge team. You can have a spa reservation if you have a spa treatment that you'd like to make. You can do that as well through the concierge team. Any type of reservations, maybe for a tour, you want to do something through island routes, for example, and you haven't booked that before you went, they can check the availability and make that for you there in the concierge lounge, or by just picking up the phone down to the concierge team. Oh, Does that look funny? Well, I thought I'd put this on quickly just to show you. Now, this is obviously Sandals one, but the same at beaches. When you stay in a concierge level room or a butler suite, you get amazing robes. Now, these are very nice Egyptian cotton robes. They are so comfortable. And you get these inside your room. And what's amazing is at beaches as well, is you also get these for the kids. They have mini kid-sized ones. They start at maybe 2 to 3 years old. So my 1-year-old was a little small for the ones they provided, but they are absolutely adorable on the kids, and they're amazing for just a family relaxation time inside your suite. Alright, back to normal. Now let's talk about that third tier level. This is the pinnacle of being at beaches, Turks and Caicos, and this is the Butler Elite Suites. Now, with the Butler Elite Suites, you do get everything that would be included at the concierge level, but you also get more. For example, these are going to be the nicest suites available on property, the largest suites available on property, and with that, you do get your own personal butler or butler team depending on how long you stay. Typically, maybe if you're there for a week, you might have 3 butlers that are spread up over the course of your stay, or they might even share different times of the day. With that, you get a personal cell phone that you can ring them at any time, and you can get in contact with the butler, and they can make dinner reservations for you. They can, maybe if you have a favorite chair somewhere along the beach, they can reserve that for you. They can bring you food and drink wherever you are. They can set you up a private dinner from any restaurant in the resort directly inside your suite. The list goes on and on with the butler service. All butlers are trained by the Professional Guild of English Butlers, and it is a fantastic, high-quality professional team. From offering to press your clothes for the first night's dinner upon arrival, to escorting you nightly to your restaurant, to sitting you in your favorite table if you've requested, that list of services that a butler can provide, it is endless. Whatever is possible, they say, as long as it is moral, it's ethical, and it's legal, then they would be delighted to do it for you. One final note to mention with the butler level rooms is at beaches, room service, that does start with the butler level rooms. Now, some people might ask, why at a 5-star resort like this is it only the top tier suites that include room service? That's a fair question. So with this, you need to keep in mind that this resort is absolutely massive. There is no logistical way possible to provide for everyone room service. Now, while this might be a feature at another 5-star resort that's very small, which you will find, for example, at the Sandals resorts, you'll have that at the club level because they are smaller. Now, at beaches, it's just not possible, but what is beautiful is within walking distance of every single suite, you have a plethora of restaurants to choose from. So there is always something for everyone there, and you can always get something to take away as well, and you can have it to go to take back to your suite if you prefer. But yes, if you are in a butler suite, then you can order from any of the restaurants and have your butler bring that to you in the room. And you also do get a dedicated menu for the butler guests as well. And that's a specific menu for butler guests. So yes, those are the 3 levels of luxury when it comes to choosing your level of service and your level of room at beaches, Turks and Caicos. Your luxury, your concierge, and your butler level. Any questions on those, just drop it in the comments below or send me an email below and I would be delighted to help you. Next, let's talk about the villages. I did mention at the beginning of this video there are 5 different villages that make up this wonderful resort. So these villages are the Caribbean seaside villages, you also have the Italian village, you have the French village, and then you have the Key West village. Let me just briefly talk about each of these because everyone has a little bit of different preference in terms of where they actually stay and which village and which suites. Let me give you a quick outlay just to help you make the best choice. Now, the Caribbean and the seaside villages, they're technically 2 separate villages, but because they're so similar, often they're classified in the same and have similar amenities with them. So these villages are a garden oasis style of village, and they are just right there along that beautiful 12-mile beach. So if you like to be close to the beach, this is a great village for you to choose from. With 2 pools with swim-up bars there in that village, and also having hammocks and secluded areas for relaxation, it is a really nice ambiance there, and it's perfect for many families. In terms of the price, it is also going to be on the lower half of the price of the resort spectrum. Next, you have the Key West Village. Now, this is a very unique village because with the Key West Village, something to know about this is the Key West Village was actually its own resort at one point. And when Beaches actually bought it, it became part of the much larger complex. So if you had stayed in one of the other suites in one of the other villages and then stayed in Key West, you would notice a massive difference. It is not bad or good differences per se, but just different. So for example, in some of them, you will actually have washer and dryers. And this is something which you can let me know, and I'm happy to let you know which ones actually have that amenity. But for families particularly, that can be attractive to some people to know that, you know what, I can do my laundry and it's not going to be a problem. This Key West Village is very similar to that vibe you get from the Florida Keys, but with the beauty of the Caribbean, and has that very, very modern and that American feel to it. So if you like the American style of amenities, this is a fantastic option. This is also a great option if you are traveling as a large group. So I have met quite a few people and also have had clients that have went in larger groups. And with this, maybe it is a family of 5 or 6, and then you have some grandparents or an aunt or uncle that are coming along, and that can add up pretty quickly. So in this Key West Village, there are actually 4-bedroom Butler Villa residences that also have a private pool with them. They're magnificent and they can have 10 people easily inside of them. Very, very comfortable. So this can be a great option for a large family or even maybe a couple of families traveling together. Next, you have the gorgeous French Village. Now, this is a village that has everything you would expect, with an amazing French flair and a wonderful ambiance that gives way to romance, but also at the same time, amazing family atmosphere. Here you will find a massive pool with a toddler pool as well, and around this village you will also see restaurants like my favorite restaurant, Le Petit Chateau, fine dining, French food, and then also it is where the massive entertainment stage is as well. So there's a lot right there, and it's also literally a second's walk if you're trying to get to Pirates Island Water Park or even some of the gourmet food trucks we'll talk about in a moment. Now, this village as well, it can be a little bit cheaper than the Italian village we'll talk about in just a moment, but it does have that similar European flair. Now, just one thing to mention about this village, because the entertainment stage is at the edge of this village, while if you go to sleep at regular time, you're not going to have any issues. Perhaps if you do have a child that goes to bed early, in the 6 to 7 and into the 8 p.m. hour, you will have entertainment that can be very loud in the entertainment stage. So depending on where your suite is in that village, it is possible that you might have a little bit of noise pollution during that time if you're hoping for somewhere quiet. So if it is important to you to not be near entertainment stage, then do consider maybe a different village. However, in terms of the village and good value for money, the French Village is easily one of the most popular options. Of course, then you have the Italian Village. The Italian Village, a little bit similar to the French Village with that European flair. In the Italian Village, you have the largest pool in the entire resort. Of course, with a wonderful swim-up bar, and then also, just like the French Village, you have a toddler pool for this. This is also a great village to stay in if you enjoy ocean views, particularly if you're able to get a penthouse level room or even one maybe on the 5th floor if there's 6 floors. Those views can be absolutely amazing. It does depend on how you're situated because it's a bit of a horseshoe in the Italian Village, but I would say that over half of all the suites in Italian Village are going to have a gorgeous ocean view to them. As you walk through the Italian Village, you'll feel that Italian ambiance there. They have Italian style pools that make you feel a little bit like you're standing at the Trevi Fountain there in Rome. The architecture is very Italian-esque, and I have to say that as someone who loves Italy, it's an amazing flair having that around you, but also being in the Caribbean at the same time. Finally, for the average suite, I would say that the Italian Village is probably going to be the most expensive of the villages, and that is due to a couple of reasons. A, due to the location, but B, because this village only has Concierge and Butler level suites in it. Alright, can we talk for just a moment about my favorite part? You know what it is. Food and drink, right? Food and drink. I've already alluded to how great it was, but let me just break this down for you to know exactly what you're getting into. 15 bars, all with premium beverages, and 24 different places to get your grub on. That is where it begins for me at Beaches, Turks and Caicos. First, there are 3 adult-only restaurants, and this is well worth knowing. Even if you think, you know, there's no chance I'm leaving my kid at any point, We'll talk about that in a minute and why you might consider that. If you do decide to have a couples only evening and you want to go and you want to have that amazing time in an adult only restaurant without any screaming kids, then I have to say that these 3 options are very nice. I do have my favorite, and I think you already know which one. So the first one is called Sapodillas, and it looks a bit, if you look at the word at first, a bit like a sapapilla, but that's not what it is. It's Sapodillas, and this is a pan-Caribbean restaurant. And in this restaurant, they have amazing steak and seafood. So when I was there, I tried a few different dishes, which again, this is a bit like a cruise in a sort of way where when you sit down, if you are a hungry guy like I am, you can be a little bit a little bit more than you would at home, and you can order 2 or 3 different dishes to try. They won't judge you, and they're quite happy to do it. So if you're after trying some authentic Caribbean gourmet dining, and then also want some steak and seafood perhaps, Sapodillas is a really good option for you there. I will say it does get very busy, and with this sometimes they will take your name and they will send you to the nearby bar and come and get you when it's ready, but you can always get in without any issue to Sapodillas. Next is what I already told you is my favorite, and this is Le Petit Chateau. And this is the French gourmet dining restaurant there in the heart of the French village. And inside of it, it is just absolutely beautiful. Here, let me show you a couple of photos and video from when I was just there. So if you're looking for one of the adult-only restaurants with the most romantic feel, this would be my #1 bet for you. The third of the adult-only restaurants is Sky. So Sky, well, it has sky views. Now, you will want to eat on the earlier side of the dining if you are trying to catch that sunset. However, it's also beautiful at nighttime as well because the resort is lit in such a gorgeous way. So this is a restaurant which I say is absolutely amazing to try, and with this it's going to have a little bit of a diverse cuisine. The cuisine you'll find will be more contemporary, and while it is just an adult-only restaurant in the evening, actually it is an amazing breakfast, family breakfast for kids as well, where you can have a beautiful look just all across that gorgeous Caribbean. And you're right there, right along the beach as well. And so you can have breakfast up there with the kids, so maybe it's not an option for you to go to the adult-only restaurant in the evening. You can still have the breakfast experience there for fine dining breakfast with the kids just in the morning at Sky. Now let's talk about the restaurants, which is the family restaurants where everyone's welcome. First is Arizona's. Arizona's is a Southwestern cuisine, so if you're someone like me that enjoys good fajitas, oh, I was in heaven. The chef there has fresh meats cooked right in front of you on the grill and can freshly slice your steak or chicken. You can go and you create your own fajitas, or you can go and you can have an a la carte option, or even you can have an amazing kind of Southwestern buffet. There's also a gorgeous pool right there with the cascading waterfall, and again, like a lot of places in this resort, it is just steps from the beach. With Arizona's, it will be more buffet style by lunch and then a la carte for dinner. Then you have Barefoot by the Sea. This is a toes in the sand experience, which you can go with the whole family and you can take your shoes off and you can have a create your own seafood type. Bayside Buffet, which is located just right beneath the Sky restaurant, is going to be international cuisine, and in there it is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is a buffet, and the buffet, I have to say, I found it to be very fresh and to be very nice. Then you have Bella Napoli Pizzeria. This is going to be your classic just wood-fire pizza. It is delicious. They also do some of the different things like calzones as well, and even have a few little specialties they throw on the menu that's outside of the classic range at times. Now, probably a kid's favorite, and for adults who really like that 1950s retro chic ambiance, you have Bobby D's. Bobby D's is situated as that 1950s diner, and if you look at these photos here, you'll know exactly what I mean. We have hamburgers, we have all types of sandwiches, even very nice ones with fresh cut rump steak like your Philadelphia cheesesteaks. There's pizza for the kids, there's mac and cheese, there's an ice cream bar, and there's milkshakes, and there's free-flowing fountain drinks. It goes on and on. In here, this is absolutely a heaven for the kids or those who are young at heart. And of course, if you find yourself into authentic Indian cuisine, Bombay is an absolute must for you. Bombay Club is amazing Indian food, and you'll find this restaurant as well at many Sandals resorts. Over in the French Village, right next to Le Petit Chateau, you will have Café de Paris, and that is going to be a French patisserie, a French creperie, and in there you can have drinks made to order. You can have a wonderful kind of array of cakes and different selections you can grab, and then in there as well you have a crepe buffet where you can go and you can have a fresh crepe and you can then put your own toppings on it, make it your own. It's very nice. Now, if you have been to Sandals and know the Café de Paris there, it is definitely a bit different to it. For example, they don't actually have ice cream in this one like they would at Sandals, but I think you'll find it nice. And then you have the dining option, which is at almost every Sandals resort and is at the beaches resorts as well, and is the one that all of my clients always come home raving about. And this is the Jerk Shack. The Jerk Shack is authentic Jamaican style meats, and it is very similar to American barbecue, but it has a very distinct flavor to it, and it also has very distinct sauce. You can go more mild or you can go proper spicy. Served with things like French fries and yams and traditional breads, everyone finds this an absolute culinary delight. And right there with it, you have Dino's Pizzeria, which is similar to the Bella Napoli Pizzeria, but it's just there together with other Dinos as well. Then you have Giuseppe's, which is an Italian buffet. Now, interestingly, this Italian buffet is actually in the French Village, but with this, it is going to be buffet style, also with some a la carte items you can order in the evening as well, and this is a very family-friendly buffet option. Probably the most popular restaurant in the entire resort is going to be Kimono's. Now, if you've been to a Sandals resort before, you'll probably recognize this name. Kimono's is going to be your traditional teppanyaki style Japanese food. So this is where they cook in front of you on open grills, and it's with a bit of entertainment as well. Now, I would mention that maybe if you've been to a Sandals resort, they often have the open flame with it. With this, they keep it a little bit more contained because it is a family resort with lots of young kids. But also, if you have young kids, the chefs there do a great job at making sure it is age appropriate for them. So in the case of my 1-year-old, we do the wipers on the bus, go swish, 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 and all the other kids songs as well. And it's just a lot of fun. So it is probably some of the tastiest teppanyaki I've had, and I eat teppanyaki quite a bit because it's something I enjoy. So this is definitely a must-do, a must-eat at beaches, Turks and Caicos. But one thing to mention as well, it is the only, that is at the time of this video, might change, but at the moment, it is the only restaurant in the resort which absolutely 100% requires a reservation. Unfortunately, try to get into this one without a reservation and they're going to say, I am sorry. Then you have Mario's, which is a delightful Italian restaurant with a wonderful fresh buffet and also a la carte options as well. Now, you might remember me talking about that horseshoe option that is there in the Italian Village, the layout that is for the horseshoe. Now, in the nook of that horseshoe is where you would find Mario's restaurant. Now, Mario's also does separate the Italian Village and then also the Pirates Island water park, so you can actually even get to it by just crossing through and having a quick little walk. Over by Bayside Buffet and by the Sky Restaurant, you also have Neptune's, which is, again, this is going to be a seafood-based restaurant with a lot of different options, and it's also open for breakfast as well. Then you have Schooners. Everybody knows Schooners. Schooners is somewhere that's very popular at a lot of different Sandals resorts and other beaches. And with Schooners, this is a restaurant which does focus on seafood and meats. I would say that I did find the quality a little bit less than when I dined at Schooners at Sandals, but it was still okay, and I found that everyone around me was enjoying their time. You also have soy sushi. For the sushi lovers, sushi and sashimi, this is going to be an absolute paradise for you. Fresh, made-to-order sushi right there in an open-air ambiance. It is fantastic, fantastic restaurant. You can do it one of two ways. You can treat it as a bit of a pre-course and have some sushi before going to a different restaurant, or that could be your main meal. Next is the Cricketers Pub. Now, as someone who has lived in the UK, maybe the actual food on the menu itself is not necessarily authentic pub grub, but the atmosphere definitely is. It's a It's a family-friendly place. You can go for food. It is open late for the adults as well. Then you have my two favorite options, which actually aren't even restaurants at all, but it's definitely tasty. The first one is called Mr. Mac. Now, right between Pirates Island Water Park and the French Village, it is a gourmet food truck, and with this you have all kinds of mac and cheese, from deep fried mac and cheese to crab loaded mac and cheese. You have cheeseburger mac and cheese, Philly cheesesteak mac, every type of mac and cheese you can imagine. If you like mac and cheese and you like gourmet street food, this food truck is absolutely astonishing. Then you have Curls and Swirls, which is almost right next to Mr. Mac, just maybe 100 feet away. And Curls and Swirls is going to be frozen yogurts, it's going to be customized milkshakes, it is going to be ice cream, all of that good stuff for you there. So those two food trucks right next to each other, I think they pair together complementary quite well. Now let's talk about a few items that are just for the kids. So first of all, Sesame Street. Now we all know Sesame Street, and Beaches has an exclusive partnership with Sesame Street where every day you're going to have Sesame Street parades, you're going to have character dinners. There's so much going on with Sesame Street. If you're not a fan of Sesame Street, it's not intrusive, so don't worry, but if your kids like that sort of thing, then they will have a great time. Now, going along with that Sesame Street partnership, when it comes to kids camp, this is an important thing to talk about. Let's talk about it. It's also called Camp Sesame, very appropriate. So the first thing is the nannies that are inside of these kid camps. They are part of the International Nanny Association, and one thing that's really important is they have a lot of experience. So just to be hired by Beaches, they have to have the accreditation, and this accreditation requires over 2,000 hours of childcare logged experience before you have that. So you know that these people are well trained. The nannies are also trained in child safety, nutrition, and development, and what's even better as well is they're also trained about special needs. And with this, there is a particular focus on autism. Now, you might be aware that there is a Sesame Street character named Julia that has autism, and she has arrived recently in the last year at Beaches, and you'll find her everywhere. And she's a fantastic buddy for those with autism, and that as well as there are individual nannies that do have kind of special training for that to make sure that from the sensory development perspective and the environment that's needed, that is there for your child if that's something you need. There's also an autism certified kind of sensory friendly Beaches buddy that you can hire on an hourly basis if you want someone to actually be with your child around the clock, maybe just during dinner time or maybe during your whole stay. It's up to you, and that is something which can be prearranged for you. Next is the infant program. Now the infant program is actually spread between really two different programs if we're being fair. So first of all, you have from birth essentially all the way to roughly 11 months is kind of what they categorize that at. And then they have from kind of a year old all the way up until that 3-year-old birthday. Now, one thing with that is, it's not so much about the ages there, it's more about the ability and confidence of your child in walking. Because the group with a little bit older, they're going to be a little bit more active. They'll do things like walking to lunch and that sort of thing. So the one for kind of, I guess you could say newborns and then all the way up to that year old, they in the daytime is going to be more of a relaxed atmosphere, keeping the children calm, making sure that they have all the food they need and that sort of thing. Now, when we went, so we took our 1-year-old son, and with that, he actually was kind of right in between the two different stages, which was a bit tricky, but what we found is in the daytime, he worked really well in the younger one, and then in the evening, they don't have the younger one in the evening, but in the evening, he was perfectly fine in the older one. They're not walking to lunch. He walks, but he's a little bit tippily, if you know what I mean. So with that, your child can fit into either one really based off the confidence level of them, and that's a conversation you can have with the nanny itself. The ratio of staff to children there is very, very good. It really ranges. Officially, it's kind of maximum of 3 or 4 to 1, depending on the time of day. But in our experience, it was closer to 2 to 1. And a lot of times of the day, there was actually more nannies in there than there were actually children. Now, one of the things which a lot of parents think about is, oh, I'm going on this trip. I don't know how I'd feel about leaving my child. And to be honest, my wife and I, we felt the same way. And it wasn't until we really looked into all the things that go behind this program that gave us a little bit more confidence. And then the other thing as well was you're absolutely welcome to at any time go in. You can spend time with your child, or you can even go and just get a feel for it and see if it's right for you. So we found that all of the nannies in there, that they were very caring, they were very gentle, and they followed instructions very well. If you left them instructions on anything that's kind of specific, as well as, of course, you can leave your contact information, and there's an extension you can ring from any phone in the resort anytime just to check up on them. So with that being said, the safety, security, and the well-being of children, I feel very confidently about. And while it's not somewhere that I personally would leave my child every day, all day, which you technically could do because it's open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night, with just a little break there in the late afternoon, we found it was really great for maybe we wanted to go on like a snorkeling trip for an hour or two, and he enjoyed having some playtime in there. And nap, maybe in the nap time, you didn't want to actually have to go and take a couple of hours for that, where you can actually go into the quiet room with the actual baby beds, and he could go and have a nap in there all comfy, and then when he wakes up, come pick him up. So just it's one of those things where you can really have a feel for what's best for your family, but it is really, really nice to know that exists and that's there, as much or little as you choose to use it. The next program is a Toddler Program, so this really starts at 3 years old and is for 3 and 4 year olds, and there's so much fun here. Now, one thing is they must be potty trained for this, so if your child is still needing a lot of help in that range, then it doesn't mean they can't go to anything. It means they're probably just going to be hanging out with those who are almost 3 years old. Although you will find there's some younger ones, the more advanced, and some older ones, and because every child's development is different. But that's the beauty of this, is these different programs have these small age ranges that are beautiful for kind of making sure it is age appropriate. So whether your child fits into that age or just into that category, that's really up to you. In the Toddler Program, they have the cutest toddler pool. I didn't do any filming in there just for child safety purposes, but just know that it is absolutely cute. It has just literally a few inches of water there for them to splash around on. It has their own little sun loungers that is just their size. It is really, really cute, and they have a lot of fun. Things like face painting and playing games. It is very age appropriate, and they have a blast. Next is for a little bit older, the Navigators Program. We're thinking 5, 6, 7 years old, and with these they do costume, they can play with costumes, they can do games, competitions. This is where, for those who have a little bit more energy and they're wanting a little bit more, and they're getting a little bit older, but they're not tweens yet. They're in that kind of range between toddlers and tweens. This is a perfect program just for them. But then you have that Adventurous Program, which is really that tricky phase, because this is for the 8, 9, 10-year-olds, so they're not quite tweens yet. They have a lot of energy, and this can be channeled through a lot of games. They even have some child water sports that are appropriate just for them. A lot of games, a lot of fun, competitions, music, everything you could possibly want at that age. They channel all that energy into a wonderful time, and they put together a full program and schedule on that as well. So maybe your child only wants to participate in certain things, it's there. Then you have the tweens. Now tweens, it's at beaches is going to be considered to be 11, 12, 13, and also 14 years old. And so in this range here, the tweens program, this is where a lot of high energy action comes in. There's water sports that are appropriate for them, dive-in movies, a lot of just really fun activities for them to channel that energy into a lot of enthusiastic fun. And then after that, you have the teens program. The teens program is for the 15, 16, 17 years old. They can check themselves in and out at their own leisure there, and this is absolute a teen paradise. All the way from at nighttime, where there is a teens only disco nightclub called Liquid. Of course, no alcohol in there, but it gives them that nightclub feel. Karaoke, they can have jam sessions. There are all kinds of competitions. There's teenage Olympics. There's all kinds of play lounges for them. Everything you can possibly imagine that a teenager would want is going to be here. Have to say that looking at the stuff, even as an adult, this stuff which I would have found a lot of fun even now, and if I went there as a teenager, it would have been the time of my life. In the teen program as well, where there's discos, they can go on a cruise that's just for the teens. There's karaoke sessions. There's just so much, and again, like the other camps as well, this is not so much a kids camp, more of just a teen program, but with that there's a full schedule of activities, as you can imagine, so for every teenage taste there is something for them. Also, it is worth mentioning that there is private childcare available. You do need to book it at least 4 hours in advance, but with the childcare, it does range in cost, but it's typically around $20 US per hour. And with that, it is a certified nanny again who can spend one-on-one time with your child. Maybe you want babysitting in suite while you go and have a nice dinner somewhere, or maybe it's a daytime babysitting, or whatever it might be. That is available at your discretion. As a final category that is definitely worth a mention, let's talk about activities. Now, with activities, there is an abundance. We've obviously talked about the various youth programs ranging from infants all the way through teens, but what about just general activities in the resort? First of all, you have an Xbox lounge. I mean, just take a look at this. This Xbox lounge has every type of game you could possibly imagine in there, and it's a great place for the whole family. While, as you can imagine, it's most popular with teens, it's a great place for maybe a father and son or a family duo to go and just have some wonderful time. Across the resort, you also have various play zones. Areas, for example, just one right across from the Xbox lounge where you have everything from air hockey and table tennis, pool, all of these activities. There's even activity huts where you can go and you can check out a board game. Now, with these, we're talking stacks of the same board games, so there's no shortage and there's always something for everyone, and your favorite is most likely there. Of course, we also can't say enough about Pirates Island Water Park. This is an amazing, massive water park where it is absolutely included in the resort and is situated just perfectly between that French and Italian village. Now with this, you have everything from the relaxing lazy river to the adventure slides for those who are after the Fast and the Furious. Or, in the case of my 1-year-old son, nothing was better for him than where all the water was just spouting up and he could go and just play and have some splashes. So, for everyone, regardless of that thrill level, regardless of age, the water park is really perfect for all. With water sports as well, there is no lack of activities. Often, all-inclusive resorts just maybe include a couple, if they include any. There is a plethora of options here at Beaches Turks and Caicos, ranging all the way from hobby cats, paddle boards, kayaks, everything you can imagine like that with the non-motorized sports, and also, for example, snorkeling. You want to go on a snorkeling trip? Well, that is not a problem whatsoever, and with that, you can even take a free snorkel trip once a day. Maybe you like snorkeling, but you actually prefer scuba. If you're a scuba diver and if you have a PADI certification, well, this is going to be a paradise for you, because here you can have free dives every single day. And with these, there are different options. Maybe you have a partial certification, you need to finish it, or need a recertification. All these things are also available at Beaches Turks and Caicos. And in terms of the prices on those type of items, when it comes to certification, those prices are going to be similar to if you did it at home, so they're not dramatically inflated at all. For those who prefer to remain on land, there is day and night tennis, there's billiards, there's volleyball, there's basketball, there are so many options there. From pool games and different aqua aerobics that happen at various times to DJs that play music in certain pools, there's often a schedule that is published around the resort and inside your room with all of the activities. Of course, in the evening as well, don't forget about entertainment and live music. Finally, a couple of tips and tricks to make your stay amazing. The first one has to do with snorkeling. We talked about the fact that at Beaches and Sandals as well, that you can do these complimentary snorkeling trips. So at Beaches Turks and Caicos, there is at least one snorkel trip that goes out every day. But a little tip here, you can actually go and you can take the gear free of charge from the activity hut, and from there you can do snorkeling on your own, so it doesn't have to be on an actual snorkel trip. One other thing as well, with this, if you are facing the ocean, About a 7 to 10 minute walk to your left, there is actually a preservation that is called the Bight Coral Gardens Reef, and there is absolutely delightful snorkeling, and with it you can walk out to it. It is roped off, the majority of it, but right along the ropes it's very popular, and from there you can see barracudas and sea turtles and a lot of really beautiful aquatic life. I actually found that the view there was probably twice as good as the destination they took us for the snorkeling trip, so maybe you try both of them. But if you only have a little bit of time or you need to do some snorkeling outside of the snorkel trip time, that is a fantastic option. Also, with reservations, as we mentioned, only Kimonos needs a reservation, but what I recommend is as soon as you get there, decide when you want to eat at the restaurant that requires a reservation and make that reservation immediately. That way you have that and you know when that is booked for you. At the airport in Turks and Caicos, I'm not going to lie, it's not the best airport. But just know that it's very easy when you are in the airport. It's a bit hectic getting through, but once you're out, there will be little kiosks and desks. The beaches one is typically, if you exit the airport and go all the way down left, you will see it as the very last one. From there, you'll see everyone loading into the transfers and headed out to resort. So while the airport itself maybe isn't so nice, there is a paradise awaiting you just a few minutes away. The last tip and trick would be regarding spa and tours and how to reserve these. These are typically best reserved ahead of time. Now, it depends on which ones, but some of them are very, very popular. Items such as a couple's massage or certain local tours. Now, with these are something that I can actually help you reserve, or your travel agent can. So it's always recommended that you have a chat about the availability on one and see if it's something that might have a monetary savings or a time savings if you were to reserve in advance. So in summary, I hope this video has been helpful for you. A couple of things before you go on your way. First of all, again, as a reminder, there is that beautiful digital brochure for you to view just right below in the description. It's a great way to have a look through and see all the beautiful things about the resort, and especially if you don't want to watch this long video over again from scratch. The next thing as well is, as I am a certified sandal specialist, I can make sure that you have the very best deal possible. So with that being said, with sandals, you're not going to find any better price out there than if you actually booked through me. But there's a benefit as well. I don't charge you anything extra for my services, but I'm actually able to make sure that everything is perfect for you. And if anytime anything goes wrong, you have someone to go to bat for you, to make sure that everything is perfect and to add that extra level of support. Not to mention as well is, I can only fit so many tips and tricks in this video, and I have a lot of things I would love to tell you to make your stay absolutely perfect and special just for you and your family. And with that said, the final thing, there is a special code word, and this code word is Beaches Bonanza. If you mention this to me whenever we're talking about booking a perfect package for you, there is actually a special little benefit that will be just for you. So just let me know that code word, so that is Beaches Bonanza, and I'll make sure that you have a little special something to go along with your booking. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video about Beaches Turks and Caicos. It is an amazing resort. As you can tell, I am passionate about this resort. I've been to just about all of the Sandals resorts. With beaches, it is very similar to Sandals, but it is that family atmosphere, and everything is done in a way that is perfect for the family. So I would encourage you, if this is a resort that is an affordable range for you, and it sounds like the kind of opportunity that you and your family would enjoy, definitely let me know. Let's have a chat one-to-one, and I'd be delighted to make sure that you are on your way to paradise. Thanks very much. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe. I'll see you next time.